I'm Rana Al-Falaki.
I'm Bav Patel.
And welcome to
the Nail It Podcast.
This is your place to lead better, live fully and laugh more. It's your blueprint to optimal performance. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Nail It Podcast, your place to
lead better, live fully, laugh more.
Yay! Bav, how are you? I see sun glaring onto your face
I'm
there.
good, yeah. So I'm in my usual podcasting studio, which is in the loft. The sun is shining. The weather is sweet. It's going to be hot this week. Really hot.
I've heard that, but just as you turned to your side and the sun shone in, I could have mistaken you for being a model.
I know, Peter Andre, right? I'll keep my top on. Not quite a six-pack down here, no. But yeah, no. It's been nice. I went to a performance this morning. So my girl, she's been learning piano, and I just wanted to know what she's actually been learning. And there was an assembly this morning, so I went to that performance. And I was really amazed by it. It was awesome. So at least that's money well spent, I think. She just took it up this year, and she did a little piece, and it was really cute. That was nice.
That is so wonderful. I couldn't play. I always wanted to play an instrument, and my parents couldn't afford a piano. So I wanted to play the piano, and I went to secondary school, and I noticed like all these people were like being dragged out of routine lessons to go to music lessons. So I begged my parents. So they paid for piano lessons for a couple of years. I got to grade 2, but because they couldn't afford to buy me a piano, I used to sort of have to stay after school until eventually there weren't any music rooms available. So I think after grade 2, it was like, okay, sod that. But when I was doing my postgraduate training, I found a lovely little old dear all the way in West London. She was probably in her 90s. I was always wondering if she was going to be alive by the time I had the next lesson. And I would finish the seminar on a Friday, and I go trekking from East to West London to go and have these piano lessons. And then I think she just got a bit fed up with me. So, and at this point, I could afford a piano, but I'd bought a keyboard at home. And since then, look, I've got all the books, Learn to Play the Piano. I have a piano, which was bought for me, Clavinova, on my 40th birthday. So that's 12 years ago now. And it's sitting in my hallway. And I'm determined. I think I found this spot for it in my living room. So if it stares at me, it's going to make me play it. I can't see it. And I'm actually thinking now is the time.
This is your sign. This is your sign.
They say when you learn a language, right, that's the best way to train your brain and stop you aging. But of course, playing music is a language. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I never learned an instrument. I'd love to as well.
But speaking of languages, we have someone who knows a lot about
words
on our podcast today, don't we, Bav? Did you like that little link there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we rehearsed it. Not quite. We've got Ricky Ghataura. She's one of our Nail It mentors. She's also a dentist, NLP Master Practitioner. She's a life coach, founder of Alchemy Unlocked, which we'll talk about today as well. And she's also a podcaster, Mums, Molars and Mayhem. Welcome, Ricky.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to be here and listen to your conversation. Yeah, Bav, you do look like Peter Andre. And talking about music, I would love to learn to play the music or sing, but I'm just not very good with music. Reading music was just such a dilemma for me. I just could never do it. So hats off to you for learning it. And maybe
I'm gonna change your wording there. You said I'm not very good at music. Add the word yet. Add the word yet on the end of that.
Yet. That is what I was going to say. You took words right out of my mouth.
There you go.
Welcome to the podcast, Ricky. There you go. So get used to that for the next half an hour. God, you are on the Nail It podcast. We like to ask a certain question to begin with. So go on. What's your favorite quote, Ricky?
My favorite quote is, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's by Carl Jung.
I love that. And you know what? I love the fact that you've actually quoted Carl Jung, because we've had a few, haven't we, Bav? Some people who have given us the same kind of quotes. This is beautifully original. It definitely is deep, right? So it definitely needs a bit of breaking down. So let's do that. So if we think, like, unless you make the unconscious conscious. So in other words, the stuff that you're not aware of, you become aware of. It's like almost opening up the box, or seeing what's been sitting in the corners all the time. And unless you do that, then say the next part.
It will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
Yeah. So unless you become aware, you'll just assume that everything is fate. Yeah. And it's interesting. There's some people believe in fate, some people don't. But what Carl Jung is suggesting, obviously famous psychologist, is suggesting actually maybe there isn't any such thing as fate, but it's just stuff that's always been there, but you've never really been conscious of it. So actually you do have control as opposed to not have control.
And you create your own destiny. That's what you're saying, yeah?
And that you are the creator of your own life. And many of us go around, I think, and I'm just saying, I love this quote, partly for two reasons, because I would say that I was one of those people too at some point in my life where I thought, okay, well, this is how life is going to be. This is where I am. This is the job. This is the relationship. This is everything. And this is just the way it is. And then things have happened over life when you just think, actually, no, this is not how I want to live my life. I want to be able to be more conscious of this. And why am I behaving like this? Why am I saying this? Why am I believing this? How am I acting? And then you start unraveling yourself, and you become more conscious of all the unconscious things, like your limiting beliefs, your fears, your values, and all these things. And then suddenly you think, actually, you know what? I can create my own life, because this is the way I want to direct my life. This is the way I want to live my life. And also, I love this quote because this is the basis for my course that I'm writing.
Which is fantastic. So this is about creating your own destiny. Now, Ricky, a lot of people feel powerless to do that, right? A lot of people believe, and are hard set in that belief, that they have absolutely no choice. You know, that it is what it is. I can't control it. I can't do anything. And you and I know, are very aligned in that, with the idea of, look, change your personality, change your personal reality. That's a quote for Joe Dispenza. You know, change our words, change our energy, and change our perspective, change our filters to become more conscious filters, and we change our experience in life. So exactly like you said, I mean, we do it through our coaching, through core energy coaching, and you have this amazing course, right? Alchemy Unlocked, which is a blend, I know, of so much of your stuff, because you're a Reiki practitioner, a theta healer, theta healer, theta healer. Great. Obviously an NLP practitioner, a coach. So tell us about Alchemy Unlocked. What is it, and how does it get you to become more conscious and change your life's experience?
Oh, it's such a big question, and I don't want to go into a real big long story, but we'll go back to why I actually did it, and then why it's the way it is designed. So during COVID, I lost my job for a particular reason, which I don't want to go into, but it basically rocked my boat, rocked my foundations, and I ended up losing my job. So in a sense, I lost my identity, feeling like, what am I going to do with my life? That whole stress caused me to break my Achilles tendon, which meant that I was in bed for 6 months. And that's when I really started questioning, what is my life's purpose? What am I doing here? Do I love dentistry? Is this all there is to life? And what am I actually here on earth to do? And so during that time, you know, I explored lots of things. I was then had to have coaching and NLP. And I was thinking, I'm going to leave my career and go into psychology, because I love, the human mind. I love mindset, but also because I needed to change my mindset, because I started to realize that I was having these negative loops and these thought patterns that weren't very helpful. And I needed to change that. So I went on this journey of self-development, finding healers, different types of healers, energy healers, Reiki healers, a whole load of things. You know, I was obsessed. And then I was like, well, you know, I'm going around to all these different people, learning different things. I wish there was one place where it was all together. And I wasn't having to go to so many people, spending time, and, you know, somebody would do something, but then I still had other questions, and then it was someone else. And I was just searching. And it was also trying to search for the right person that was going to help me on this pathway. But actually, you know, everyone has their unique niche. And then I thought, actually, I'd love to have somewhere where that's all amalgamated. It's an alchemy, and that's what it's all about. So I wrote the course based on the fact that I was bringing in NLP, I was bringing in life coaching, I was bringing in the Reiki, and I was bringing all these other modalities. So for anybody that wants to have that transformation where they're feeling that they're stuck, they're feeling like they don't really know where their life is going. And, you know, I'm basing it around someone like myself who, you know, has had kids. You've got submerged in all the kind of roles of motherhood, your profession, your career, but you've kind of lost yourself. And it's just trying to reacquaint yourself with yourself again and finding that person, finding that pathway, finding that passion, finding your purpose amongst all of that thing that's been hidden under. And then it's just all in one place. So you've got everything together. You've got the NLP, you've got the soul-led practices, and you've got a bit of meditation and everything in there. So it's all in one vessel, as opposed to you having to go and find different people. So that was my whole purpose of writing the course. And it was something like I wish I had when I was in that position. And so I would love to give that to other people so they're not searching for so many different things.
Yeah.
So that in a nutshell is why I wrote the course. And that's why I hope that it helps for transformation for people who are really searching for it.
It's sort of a one-stop shop for transformation.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah. And it's not just for health practitioners, for anybody?
It's for anybody. Right. It's for anybody that needs it, anybody that feels like they need to work on themselves or uncover themselves, and actually just stop and become conscious of the unconscious. You know, to actually just stop and think, well, actually, no, how am I living my life? Is it really serving me? Is it feeling fruitful? Am I feeling passionate about life? Am I feeling happy about life and joyful? And if not, what is it that's stopping me? Is it, you know, my limiting beliefs? Is it my fear? Well, how can I uncover it? So the course goes through a pathway of trying to uncover things and get yourself to work through this transformation. And, you know, transformation isn't just, you know, magical. You do one thing and you're going to be transformed. It's like an onion ring. It's an onion. So you're peeling back all the layers. You're trying to work on something. You'll remove that, and then there's something else that gets uncovered. So it's a constant process. Healing is a constant process. Transformation is a constant process. But at least this is the start, and you're becoming more conscious of the things that are sitting in your mindset, just, you know, working away, stopping you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about transformation, don't we? I mean, and it's the same with the Nail It system in a similar-ish way. It's maybe, I'm not going to say it's more practical. It's just not obviously spiritual. It's like my first book. Anyone who was spiritual could have read Women Who Want More and completely seen the spirituality within it. But if you weren't spiritually inclined, you just see it as practical. And in many ways, Nail It is the same. So your course, Alchemy Unlocked, obviously is very open about bringing in that spirituality, but understanding that spirituality is not a scary word. It's not woo-woo. I mean, you know, your spiritual belief is literally, actually, it's about who you are. It's your identity, right? That makes you you. And it creates a beautiful system. And I was just thinking about this word. We use it a lot in the coaching field, don't we, about transformation and what exactly is transformation? Because a lot of people don't wake up in the morning and think, I need transformation. I need to be transformed, right? So if you and I were sitting on the sofa on a Friday night, having a cup of tea, because that's all I'll do on a Friday night, no wine for me, you know, what would I be saying to you for you to be able to say to me, I've got just the course for you? Because I'm not going to say, well, I probably would because I'm a coach, but otherwise, imagine I wasn't, and I'm just like your friend, and I'm like, Ricky, so that you could offer me this transformation. What am I going to say to you?
Oh, so what would you say if you wanted to have the course? You would say most probably that you are feeling unfulfilled. You don't know where your life is going, and you feel like you've kind of lost yourself. You feel like you're not quite sure who you are, and you feel like there's more to you than there is at the moment, and you've got a bit more to give, but you don't know what that is.
I love that. Okay, can we role play? You know I love a role play.
She's
Okay,
putting
right.
her coaching hat on. She's
So
putting her
I'm
coaching
sitting here,
hat
I'm
on.
sitting here having my cup of tea. I know, Bav, you know I'm like, I'm sitting here having my cup of tea. And okay, so like I'm just gonna bring it into real, because people don't talk again in the coaching world, we talk about fulfillment, but they don't talk about fulfillment. So people don't, lay people don't. It's kind of like, okay, right, here we go. I have to become like somebody, you know what I'm like, okay, right. So Ricky, I'm just miserable. Like there's got to be more to life than this. It's like I wake up in the morning and I just every day is exactly the same, and I feel that there has to be something bigger, and I'm just not happy anymore. I just feel a bit empty. I feel a bit disconnected. I probably just feel a bit blah, and just every day is the same, and I'm just looking at everybody and everyone seems to be smiling and happy, and I go on social media and I just feel like I'm missing out on something. But is this all there is? Is this it?
No, this isn't all there is, but it's just what is right for you. And what do you want your life to look like? Have you ever
Oh,
sat down and had that question, to ask yourself that question, like, what do you want in life? And what do you want to give out in life? Who do you want to be? And who would you like to be? So 10 years down the line, you looked back on your life, what is it that you would have wanted to achieve? And in order to get to that, how are you going to get there? And what are you going to do? What are you going to embody? What are you going to let go of? What are you going to become aware of that you are doing or not doing to get to that person? So
and
if
then
you,
I would say, I haven't got a clue. I don't know. Help me, Ricky.
I'll say, well, I've got just the right thing for you. Do this
Here's what
course.
I made earlier.
Yes, let me get. I'll give me a look. There you go. It's an advert for you. We've just filmed an advert for you. Some of these really cheesy adverts you get, don't you? Like the sensitive, like just use a bit of the sensitive toothpaste. Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, but it's I'm so excited by it, and I just really I hope it's going to be a value to other people,
It
and even
will
if it's
be.
not, it's going to be valuable to my children. The other reason why I wrote this course, but also because I want, like I said, I want my kids to grow up being consciously aware of what is going on in their mindset from a young age. The other thing was, like we grow up in all these kind of cultures and society, and all our families are very different. You'll find generationally there's the way that you're brought up is very different, and each culture. So saying my culture, the way we were brought up, the things that were said to us, the way that our parents are, unknowingly, they're not conscious of what they're saying, but that has a deep impact on us. And until I became a parent, and maybe a little bit later, because I was ingrained to just do the same patterns as my parents. And it was up to a point that I thought, you know what, that didn't serve me. And I don't want to be doing that to my children and saying the words and saying the things that, and I don't want them to be in my situation. So I need to change that. And how am I going to change that? I'm going to have to become aware of what I'm saying, how it's impacting my children, and then also what's their mindset going to be like, because I want them to be coming on to one of your limitless in their thinking and in what they're going to achieve. So I wanted it to also be for my children, and any young child. But then bringing it back to dentistry, I also thought this was really valuable for dental students. Like when you're in dental, you're in, when you're at university, you're just focusing on all the clinical stuff. But actually, as soon as you leave, your mindset has to be really strong and resilient to overcome all these challenges with NHS dentistry and everything you overcome. And no one teaches you that. Some people are naturally very good in their mindset. They've got a very good, strong, resilient mindset, and they think very positively, and others don't. And that just comes from how you're brought up, your genetics, everything, a whole host of things that we're not going to get into today. But if that could be implemented and taught at a young age, imagine how the children grow up, how they're going to live their life, and how things would be very different for them. And I'm just really thinking about my children. I want them to live life as fully as they can, without any inhibitions, without feeling restraint or anything like that. I want them to be limitless, but also have really good mindset to be able to think positively reframe themselves and believe in themselves.
Yeah. I think this generation generally is a little bit more aware. You know, like we bandy this word around limiting beliefs, and you forget that most people, what is a limiting belief, right? So a belief that in some way holds you back. But I think, especially with social media, the minute you follow anything that's personal development based, all this stuff will start to pop up. So, you know, I think about how my teenagers speak, and they are more aware, they are more conscious, I think, than we were as teenagers. And you talk about the resilience side. Absolutely, some people will have it naturally, but it's about teamwork, isn't it? It's about how do you navigate a small team? How do you deal with stress? How do you regulate your emotions? Of course, emotional intelligence still like the top leadership skill that you really do have to master, and it's not in the slightest bit fluffy, despite having the word emotion in, you know, half the phrase. And I think it's admirable that you want to do that partly for your kids. I know when we created the online nail it training, and yeah, paid my kids handsomely to do all the videos, but there was a tactic to that. It wasn't just that they had got some money out of it, it was that they had to watch those videos again and again,
and some of it was
and
going
again,
in, yeah.
right? In order
Subliminal
to
messages you were sending.
edit them, yeah. In which case, you know, it infiltrates into them. Which is so important. And, you know, our mission, I mean, I know all three of us, is about to raise the consciousness of every individual, you know, one at a time, right?
Mm. I think going back to when you're saying about social media and teenagers and you know, children, and I think your children are very lucky in our children because they're raised in our environment, but many aren't. And now with social media, it has that effect that there is so much knowledge out there. So it is helpful, but then there's so much other stuff which is going to influence them to do negative things, believe in themselves. They're seeing all these people with six pack, you know, a whole host of things that is unrealistic. Then they're seeing that one side, which is definitely going to affect them mentally, and it can have repercussions. So there's a lot of very good material and a lot of very damaging material.
Yeah. And let's not forget AI now.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
you don't know whether what you're seeing is the truth or not, be it video format, all these videos, they're all AI generated. The six packs you're talking about, probably all AI generated at the push of a button. It's like what's true and what isn't, in which case it's probably even more important to ground yourself, isn't it? And because that's the secret to setting yourself free, is living in your truth. But like what is true and what isn't? Like how much do you trust yourself? And how much you're going to be influenced by everything on the outside.
yes. And obviously teenagers and young they're hugely impressionable, aren't they? From what they see, their peers. And you could be setting an amazing standard and everything at home, but then it's as soon as they get out and they've got their peer group that may be giving them other influences, you just don't know, do you? So yeah, it's a whole host of things out there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and hopefully the messages does come out. But I know at school they are teaching a lot of this, but it's how much are they listening? And it's a bit like us, isn't it? We don't, sometimes some things happen in your life, you know it in the background, but then something happens that then drastically you start thinking, oh, okay, right, now I need to implement this or start to learn about this and integrate it into my life.
Yeah. So it's like you say, it's the classic, it's the wake up call, right? Because it's all very well, I would like to, you know, me with the piano, sort of, and now in my 50s, like I've had 3 attempts, but I'm still going to go. But you know, there needs to be something to prompt you, right? And we always say this, like people only really change when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing. And that's often a brilliant instigator to get people to move, but it doesn't keep people moved. You know, the classic, someone died. And what happens? Oh, life is too short. We've got to make the most of every minute. And you make the most of every minute for a week at best, probably one day, and then you forget that commitment. So there has to be an instigator of the change. But then what really draws you is then something to aim for as well, which people often lack. And I know this is one of the NLP meta programs as well, partly, isn't it? The carrot and the stick.
Mm-hmm. The towards and the way from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Want to tell us a bit about that?
So it's one of the NLP meta programs, which is all about how our brain processes information, and we're all very different. So some people there's no right or wrong, by the way. So it's just the way you're programmed and the way you see life. So some people will view it as keeping away from something, so keeping away from harm, keeping away from, say, putting on weight. Loads of examples. It could be keeping away from injury or something like that. And some people are focused towards an outcome, so it's always like, right, well, I need to get to that goal, I need to lose 2 stones, or I need to get to climb a mountain, or whatever it is. You're working towards a goal. So it depends which way you are, which one of those you are. And you can hear it from people's language as to what they say and which one they are. And so then you can, direct your conversation accordingly. So say in dentistry, somebody said, oh, I don't want to lose my teeth. Then you would say, you don't want to lose your teeth, so we need to try and do this. We're going to do this. This is your treatment plan, so you don't lose your teeth, or you don't lose any more teeth. And then some people would be like, oh, I want to get amazing veneers by the time, for my wedding. So you'd be like, okay, let's get you amazing veneers. Let's get you looking beautiful for your wedding. And then, so you direct your conversation according to that.
Yeah. So a normal routine health one might be something like, I want to lose 5 kilograms so that I can look great when I look in the mirror, or I want to lose 5 kilograms so that I don't have to go on to blood pressure medications.
Yes.
It's the kind of the do and the don't. And I do, I talk to people, we're always listening for the clues, and it's fascinating because when you hear the clues, then you know how to direct a suggestion towards them. And I do ask people, so Bhavin, you've been very quiet. Are you a carrot or a stick?
I was about to say, I was trying to figure that out myself, actually. I think at the moment, I'm a bit of a stick, because I was actually having a conversation today, because I've been on some medications recently, and I was like speaking to a GP today and thinking about weaning myself off of it. So I was thinking, I must be someone that wants to stay away from the negative effects of things as opposed to looking towards a positive. And again, I was going to say, Ricky, I think it's also part of your childhood and the way you're brought up. It's also big cultural differences. For example, like when I went to India, the way that people spoke to people there, I felt was quite rude, and the way that people come across. But it's the way that they will respond to you because of the way that you phrase a certain instruction. If you say please and thank you, they don't get that. They're like, can you go do this? And it's kind of like they respond to that. Whereas here, if you said that to somebody here, they'll be like, no, can you do one? Whereas here, it'll be like, can you please go and do this? Or the way you frame it. But so I think there is a bit of a culture thing. So yeah, back to your point, Ren. I was trying to figure out. I think at the moment I'm a stick, but I'd love to be a carrot one day.
But I'm sure you are a carrot in other things. So
you're
talking about being a stick because you have the medication, but I'm sure you're a carrot in other things like your work.
Yeah, I think again, I guess it's also to do with what the subject matter is.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's an interesting one because I was thinking of that at the time. That's the reason I was a bit zoning out. But what other NLP things? What other pearls of wisdom can you give us? Something that we could take home, maybe use literally tomorrow.
So one of my most favorite is the power of reframing. And I think I used to do this automatically, but I've obviously become more conscious about it. Then reframing is all about looking at the world, looking at any situation in a different concept, different way. And it's usually a more positive way, because then once you start looking at things in a different way, you see life in a different way. So situations that once were really upsetting or stressful become a bit more like there's opportunity there or something. So how can I examples is, it's raining outside. Oh no, most people know it's raining again. And you're like, okay, no, great. The flowers are getting water. The trees are getting water.
That's a midlife thing.
There's going to be a rainbow at the end. So, just imagine that. Can you see how it is when you've got, feeling like it was raining, it's all dreary and dreadful, to, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a rainbow at the end. You're going to see a rainbow. You have such an uplifted way of seeing life. And once you see life in that uplifted way, everything just seems much better. You seem much happier, more joyful. And it doesn't seem like life is just dragging on. And we don't want life to be dragging on. We want to be enjoying as much of it as we can. I'd like to say you're going to be enjoying every single minute, but sometimes not quite always there. You need to sit down and have your cup of tea and think, oh, okay, I'm tired now. but majority of the time, if you
I've used that recently, actually. One thing that did transform, I think it was about a year ago, and I heard someone say it, but the fact on a Sunday night, I used to get quite bad, like Sunday blues, and you think, oh, I've got a whole week coming up and you get stressed out. But the reframing that on that Monday morning, I get to go to work. I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work, right? Because there's lots of things that could stop you. There's lots of people in life that don't have a job. There's people that are in far worse situations. And I've tried to instill that in my children now when they say, oh, we've got to go to school tomorrow. I go, no, you get to go to school tomorrow. You get to do this. You get to have these opportunities. You get to see your friends. You get to learn a new skill or something. So again, it's reframing that from a young age for my children as well. So yeah, I do use that. That's a good technique.
That is a really powerful reframe, that one, actually, isn't it? Massively. And then you talked about opportunity, right? And these are all the things we do when we coach people, don't we? It's like, how would you reframe that? Because it's what you're thinking that's bringing you down. So it comes back to, it's your responsibility how you feel and the reality that you live in life and that you experience, right? So it all comes down to reframing, opportunity, bouncing back, seeing the positive even in a negative situation. So like if you mentioned mountains, okay, right, my trip got cancelled, I didn't get to go, and instead of like lulling in this idea that you had this holiday planned and you were going to go hiking and you're going to have the most fantastic time, it's like, okay, well, where's the opportunity here? The opportunity sometimes you don't see it straight away, right? You live life forwards, you learn it by looking backwards, but it might be that the opportunity is you got to stay home and sort some stuff out in your house. Or you got to then go and spend those days that you had off with friends. There's always an opportunity out of adversity. And it's interesting you said I do it automatically, and I definitely do it automatically now. And of course, this is what we measure, right? This is what we measure in the Energy Leadership Index assessment. We measure people's almost reflexes of how they show up under stress and how they show up when things are going well. And it measures your level of consciousness. That's what the figure shows. So, and the higher your level of consciousness, the more fulfillment, happiness you have in these 14 aspects of your life, including financial, leadership, communication, relationships, health, and all the rest of it. So leadership style, everything. So we can measure consciousness with assessments that have been validated and we know have been tested for reliability. And just as you develop and grow as a person, I guess this is why we always talk about reflection as well, don't we? Just take the time. We will usually say to clients, take the time once every month religiously to reflect on yourself, to reflect how much you've grown, to reflect what has changed. Because again, it's becoming conscious, right? Of realizing that you are growing.
Yes. And also being conscious about, well, obviously how much you've grown, but also being conscious about things that maybe you can modify and change and work on and they said reframe the things that you're going to do. And also, why wait for adversity? So, when I had my accident and I lost my job, which was one of the most traumatic times in my life, I would say, I actually, when I was in bed, I had already actually reframed it in my head. And it was like, okay, you know what? God, universe, higher being, whoever you believe in, and I believe in God, was saying to me, you know what? You're always saying you don't have time for X, Y, and Z. Here you go. Here's sit down, do everything you want to do, read your books, learn a new skill, really do all of those. And I was just like, okay, this is the time that God's given me something. I need to just use it as best as I can. But also, I say, what I wanted to say was, why do we wait for something to happen for us to realize that we may be living our life unconsciously? I've seen it, like, obviously I did that for myself. It happened. It was an accident. But why are we waiting for something to change us when we can actually just make those changes daily, tweaking it a little bit by little bit?
Yeah, why are you waiting for the wake-up call? But I'm going to challenge you. I mean, we're going to running out of time, so we've got to get on to our next question. But I'm just going to challenge you because you said, you then said to like God, why am I doing this? And it's like, well, here you go, Ricky. Look, now you have time to read your books and do all the other things you wanted to do. How much of that then is fate rather than creating your own reality?
Well, so that's that's one of those questions that we could be arguing about loads of times, right?
Not
arguing, but having a back and forth. It could be fate, it could be destiny, it could be that, it could be a whole host of things. It's just how are you going to view it? For me, I'm going to view it that actually it was the universe's way of telling me that I needed to stop and reflect and actually figure out where is my life going. And if I hadn't done that, I would have just carried on. I think I would have carried on being unconscious of my life. But because I had that break, and I had that time to really sit down and think, oh my gosh, where am I? What is happening? And is this all there is? And I had to really question and go deep dive into who am I becoming? Why am I, what's going on in my mindset? How can I change? Do I want to be this kind of mother, this kind of wife? How do I want my career to be? If I hadn't asked those questions, I wouldn't have changed. So for me, it was a universe's way of saying, okay, you need this to reflect on.
Yeah, but my point was the contradiction between fate, like what you've done is a massive reframe, right? A massive reframe of the opportunity, and now looking back, the complete understanding that you never would have had time to do that. But how much of it, when you say the universe's way, how much of it is actually, well, fate, it just happened to me, versus going back to your original quote on what Carl Jung says, is effectively it's about making your unconscious conscious. In other words, and I know it seems a bit extreme, but in many ways, and I believe in the universe as well, right? So I'll often say you can ask for things, and you may have been asking for them in your subconscious. I want time. The only difference is you don't get to dictate how you get that time. So your thoughts and your energy and your direction was probably constantly on that I need it to stop, I need time, You just weren't expecting that time would be given to you by firstly losing your job, then exercising like a maniac, and then your Achilles tearing. That's the point. And that's the bit that, because we're not conscious of our thought patterns, but actually our thought patterns do create our reality. I mean, we put it down to fate and the universe.
What Ren is saying is subconsciously you broke your own ankle.
Exactly.
You hurt yourself on purpose.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's what she's saying.
If we're gonna stick to the quote, right? We're running out of time. Come on, Bab, ask our last question.
Great. Right, Ricky. So obviously we like to ask two questions. The first one was the quote, and the second one is, what is your favourite pillar of the NLP system? Which resonates with you the most, and why?
I'd say limitless, because I said it.
She gave us a clue already, didn't she?
She
gave us a clue.
Go on then, why?
Tell us why.
I think that we all are limitless. We just need to unravel it. And we have so much potential in each and every one of us. And we are limitless. So I just want everyone to believe we're limitless.
I love that. I love that. Yes, we all have the potential. And I always talk about this, like the limitless pillar, the fourth pillar of the NAILET leadership system. And it's really about freedom, isn't it? And because when you break free of the shackles, so it's the boundless beliefs method. So it follows a method of identifying what your beliefs are, therefore what your limiting beliefs are, what's holding you back, choosing more empowering beliefs, instilling them. So that's really part of the habit change, shedding the limelight on it. So we've talked about true or truth, haven't we? So determining how true is it. Where did I go? I went out of order. So that was the L. The I was about instilling. And then we have energy, which again, we've touched on. I talked about the energy leadership index. So about how you manage and optimize your energy to follow that limitless path. And then we have fearlessness and stress-free, of which you've touched on all of those little points today, actually.
Yes.
It was that was actually the whole thing was about limitlessness, wasn't it? Because we were talking about your core beliefs and your belief systems and instilling the thoughts and your energy, and also about fear.
Yeah, we covered it all.
And stress. Yeah, I love it. Ricky, you have been an amazing guest, and I've absolutely loved it. And obviously, we're so thrilled that you're one of our coaches and mentors and team members as well in Nail It, part of the Nail It team. And can't wait for your course to come out. So how can people connect with you? How can they find you?
We can connect with me on Instagram, Dr. Ricky Ghataura, Ricky G Coaching, and then my website. And the course will be released in September. So I'll give you all the details and we can link it in later.
Fantastic.
And
Brilliant.
also on my podcast, Mums, Molas and Mayhem. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, on Instagram as well. Thank you for being an amazing guest, Ricky. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm so happy to be part of your team and looking forward to the future.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.
Bye, Ricky.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Bav.
Right, a lot to unpack there, wasn't there?
Yeah, a lot to unpack. She's amazing, isn't she? It's
Ricky's great. Ricky is great, and it just obviously shines through on that. And her story, I think, resonates with so many people. So many people that I know and see. I don't know whether it's a generational thing or not, but there's so many people, especially in our profession and all professions, that get to a point in their lives and they stop and they think, how's my life got here? What am I doing? You sort of hit a dead end and you think, I don't enjoy this. I'm not getting anywhere. I feel as if I'm getting growing. It feels as if, I've hit a dead end and I don't know a way out. And a lot of people then come to us, they come to their friends, and that's the outlet that we're trying to tap into. And I think Ricky has got a real passion project because it's obviously come from her own self journey, a self-discovery, and found that it's so powerful. And it's great that she's packaged something up and that has become something that is going to be her baby. And the fact that she wants to get her children into it as well just shows how much she believes in it and values it, and something that is going to be a tool for people to go to. And it's something that I think is going to be something that's growing, especially in the age of AI. And one of the skills that people always keep reverting back to is that people will still need people, and people still need people that have high emotional intelligence. And a way of doing that is doing the things like our courses, doing Ricky's courses, coming to speak to people like us, coaches, mentors. And I think the world still and always will still need that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you can't smash through a board of wood on AI, can you? Which is what we do at our Nail It events, right?
The Optimus robot and us getting to do
but yeah, to be able to experience that, right, and the connection with other people, and obviously the whole Nail It philosophy is experiential learning and training and almost gamifying stuff so that it's fun, but pushes you to your limits and through your limits, right? Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. What an amazing episode, right?
Yeah.
Well, goodness me, you have to we'll have to see who our next guest is. We have some amazing guests lined up. So watch this space.
And we've got a whole library of them now as well. So obviously feel free to go back through our libraries. We've spoken about AI quite a bit. We've spoken about limitlessness. We've talked about pretty much every pillar has now been covered.
I think so.
If there's anything you want to go back onto the catalogue, feel free to search us up.
Binge, search it up and get in touch with us if you want to come to one of our
better than a Netflix binge
training. Yeah, Netflix binge, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever binge, whatever platform
you're into.
That's it. All right. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Episode wrapped. Bye-bye for now.
See you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Nail It podcast. We would love it if you would leave us a 5-star review. And if you'd like to feature as one of our guests or you're ready to nail it, then check out our events, programs and educational courses by visiting nailitindentistry.com.